He's one of the rare talents who's fantastic against the pass. They have made a boondoggle of their books. It is a sight to behold watching Christian Wilkins. To build a proper house, you need a strong foundation. And that strong foundation, you gotta dig a ditch. You gotta dig a few ditches. And that's exactly what the Raiders did in the opening day of the 2024 NFL season. And we're gonna talk about it right here on the Raider D Podcast. Christian Wilkins is one of those guys that simply moves at a different level, a different speed. It's as though he's on a different level of gravity. Like gravity doesn't really matter to him. It doesn't apply to him as it normally would to a 315-pound man who stands at 6'4". A guy of that stature should not be able to explode off the line with the quickness and the sharpness and the control that Christian Wilkins is able to do. But by some miracle, this man is able to get out of his stance a full half second to a second before an offensive guard is able to do so. This makes it super easy for him to already have won the battle at the line simply because of his explosiveness and his speed. But one has to really take a look at Christian Wilkins' hand fighting, his checking, his skills, his balance, the way he's able to maneuver and open up his hips and then take off, feint inside and then bust it to the outside and do a nasty little swim move or an under over hook move. It is a sight to behold watching Christian Wilkins demolish offensive linemen time and time and time again. This is being drafted in 2019 in the first round. Christian Wilkins has steadily upped his game year over year over year. And now, right as he's reaching the pinnacle of his career, the Miami Dolphins found themselves in quite the pickle. They simply were not able to afford Christian Wilkins. They are in salary cap hell, paying an astronomical fee to Tyreek Hill and Tua. Not to mention all the other players that are on their roster. They have made a boondoggle of their books. And because of that, a star defensive tackle who rarely reaches the free agency right as he's peaking in his career has in fact done just that. And the Las Vegas Raiders wasted absolutely no time going and getting Christian Wilkins to sign that dotted line. Now I know it's not official until Wednesday, but I'm telling you, the fact that the Raiders were able to announce a deal early in the morning just after the tampering period opened up tells you that Christian Wilkins already wanted to be a Raider, and Tom Telesco and Coach Antonio Pierce made no bones about making this guy the third highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL, making $27.5 million for 4 straight years. $110 million combined deal. Sign that dotted line. Come on over to the silver and black and join the dark side of the Raider Nation. So happy to have Christian Wilkins here, but you know what? You know who's actually happier than this guy? Is one Max Crosby. For 5 years, Max Crosby has been in the league. He has been pretty much a solo artist out there on the defensive line with little to no additional help. Even when we brought in Chandler Jones, that didn't pan out, and still Max Crosby had to carry the load for that defensive line. Despite the fact that last year we finally started to get some extra production from the line other than Max Crosby, it still was the Max Crosby show. But by adding a Christian Wilkins, a star defensive tackle, to what is already a highly motivated football team, is only going to make us better. By the end of the year, since AP took over, we were already a top 10 defense. Now you go and you add a piece like a Christian Wilkins, who in all regards is one of the top defensive tackles in the NFL, and all of a sudden you have a top 3 monstrous defensive line that is going to leave quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes running scared for their lives, because Christian Wilkins is one of those guys who can get after the quarterback. He's so fast out of his stance, and he has so many moves in his repertoire that it is insane. When I watch him play, it's like watching a bigger Max Crosby, a heavier Max Crosby, who's just as fast as Max Crosby. And instead of Max Crosby, who has to come around the edge and can easily get chipped and double teamed, this guy, Christian Wilkins, plays in the center. He has a shorter distance to the quarterback, which makes him exceptionally dangerous on that Raider defense. But what makes Christian Wilkins also special is the fact that he is no slouch when it comes to the run game. The run game is one of those issues that we have had a problem in defense with for many years, and that's because we haven't had a true run-stopping defensive tackle. But Christian Wilkins is one of those guys. He's one of the rare talents who's fantastic against the pass and chasing down quarterbacks, but he's also extremely intelligent and understands the game. He understands how the offensive line is moving and where the running back is going to be, and he's able to maneuver his body in strange ways and get off of tackles and chase down those running backs for negative yards, time and time and time again. Last year, he had 65 tackles. 38 were solo. He had 10 sacks if you listen to PFF, or 9 sacks if you listen to ESPN. He also had a forced fumble and 2 forced fumble recoveries. The fact is that Christian Wilkins just added another piece to this Raider defense that cannot be denied. But what I want to know from you, Raider Nation, is adding Christian Wilkins at $27.5 million on a 4-year contract, $110 million total, is that a grade A plus signing? Or would you rank it a little bit lower, or maybe a lot lower? Maybe you think this is a horrible idea and you want to rank it a F. So go ahead and give your grade down in those comments below and let me know, what do you think about this Christian Wilkins signing?